Story 4, Sydney, 1989-91. I think it was a Friday night as usual. Another good part of King Street was the Sandringham Hotel, or the Sando as it was known. Band 7 nights a week with Louis Tillett always playing on Monday night. The Whitlams before they go notoriety. On Sunday, the Shout Brothers shout out a song and they would play it. They had a huge repertoire of songs they knew. The rest of the week had a huge variety of different bands. First saw the Seminole Rats there. They were up from Melbourne, met Fiona Duncan for the first time. That night Stu had known her from when the Steins had toured Melbourne whilst playing with the Purtons' great 60s-themed garage band. That night Fiona was doing lights for the Rats. A great lady, salt of the earth, a credit to her gender, really helped us out when we moved down to Melbourne. That's for another story. And of course, Stevie Plunder behind the bar. Didn't know him that well, but what I did I liked. He always smile on his face, always friendly, one of the good guys. May God rest his soul. One other memory of all of the gigs at the Sandringham Hotel was Monroe's Fur. Hartley rolled up late, with all these balloons tried to him. They didn't play that well, but was very entertaining. One more thing about King Street was that marzipan wombat, or echidna in the window of what I think was a cake shop a few shops down the road from the Sando. Very strange looking thing. Freakishly ugly. My one favorite place on King Street was a 3-story terrace house we ended up calling the Goon Ranch. Was first taken around there by Damian Smith and Steve Coates, who were some of the greatest and friendliest people I met in Sydney, and are still great friends to this day, although haven't seen Steve in some years. They had a band named Hog. Damian moved down to Melbourne a few years later and joined the Freeloaders on guitar. As stated, they took me around to King Street to be introduced to the people who lived there. Don't know if everyone there liked me, but always got along with them. Some of the crew who lived there, Pete Batt, Alexandria Texta, Eddie, Andrew, forgot the last couple of people's surnames, and also the older hippie fellow who lived out the back. I think it might have been Jack. Anyway, always had good time there. Seemed that a lot of the people hadn't grown up in Sydney but came from country NSW or interstate. I guess the lure of bright lights. Big city had attracted us all there, and it was the place where I met one of the loves of my life. Alison Fitzgibbon, again, that's another storyline. One other great party house was the Kerr Brothers house in Maverickville. Those guys hung out with the Splatterheads Y crew. Pretty sure they were all from Brisbane. They had pulled the house next door's fence down and had this huge backyard where they set up a big marquee for huge house parties. I think Mike or his brother Andy worked at the brewery and had access to heaps of cheap cartoons of beer, so they would have these great parties with 5 or 6 bands. Stu, Damien, Lan, and Changa had formed a kick-around band named Mount Bingar and the Goonsuckers. At one of the parties they had thrown,